Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here with a sweet father-daughter page filled with florals and wooden designs. I will be creating a layout with the May Wildflower collection from Hip Kit Club. This main kit is perfect for summer with bright colors and prints. Along with the main kit, I'm going to be using the embellishment kit and one of the new cut files from the Hip Kit website. On my desk, I have the new May Wildflowers kit from Hip Kit Club. This main kit has bright colors and patterns with a mix of florals and prints. In the kit, there are some silver glitter accents, foam stickers, puffy shapes, mixed die cuts with foil, and these little clouds. I just love all the textures in this collection. I'm going to bring in a cut file to this page with some additional items from the Hip Kit site. In the description below, I will provide you with a list of the supplies I'm using today, along with a link to the kit. For my background, I have selected a piece of ice-colored cardstock, which is a softer blue. This page is going to have a circular shape in the center, with some wet mediums framing the sides of the circle, so I need to prep the page before I add the paint. I'm using a white gesso that I'm roughly brushing in a circle shape in the center of this page. The white color is going to soften the center of my circle, and that rougher brush stroke is going to add some texture. The gesso itself is going to prime my surface. Gesso creates a layer over the weave of the paper and prevents the wet medium from soaking through. Now that the gesso has dried, I'm going to bring in some shimmers paint and create a little pool of color on my glass board. After I add water to the paint, I'm going to use some cellophane wrapping to apply the color to my page. This is the packaging from the cut apart cards. I have balled it up in my hand to use it as a texture tool as I apply the paint to my layout. I plan on having the florals in the lower left corner and the upper right, so I'm adding most of the color in those two locations. I'm also creating a bit of an arc shape on either side so that the paint extends past the florals that I'll be adding. Now that the paint has dried, I'm going to place the two florals over the circle, and you're going to see how they sit on the painted areas. I plan on creating a stitched circle in the middle of this page, just behind those florals. To make it easier to create the circular shape with my sewing machine, I'm going to trace this cardstock shape. With some white and teal thread, I stitched around the circle shape about 6 or 7 times. Before I adhere these florals in place, I am going to layer some vellum on the back. Currently, I'm trimming off a few of the little branches from the vellum. Little branches like this can be difficult to line up on your cardstock cuts. On these pieces, the vellum isn't going to be showing, so I'm going to save myself a little bit of frustration and just trim them off before I adhere the two pieces together. This floral cut is one of the cut files available on the Hip Kit site this month. Some of these cut files, like this one, are exclusive files that are only available to Hip Kit Club subscribers. There are a few exclusive freebie cut files on the site as well. All you need to do is register on the site to access them. I've laid these two floral cuts in place, and as you can see, they don't quite fit the shape of my circle. I like how these larger 3 flowers frame my photo and how this one on the right finishes off the frame, but the smaller pieces are going to need to be trimmed off or covered. I also feel like the cut at the top is a little too large for the space, so I'm just going to use the 3 flowers right here. I enjoy using cut files on my pages, but there are a few times that they need a little bit of altering. Sometimes I'm able to do this in Cricut Design Space, but most of the time I just trim them up by hand. Now that these are trimmed down, they fit the space much better. If you're one who hates to throw away the scraps, you can always layer these behind the other pieces. This month we will be celebrating Father's Day in the US, so I decided to celebrate one of the fathers in our family on this layout. When I was selecting the items for this page, I wasn't sure about using florals on a Father's Day layout, but then I realized that there is a precious little girl in that photo, so florals were a perfect fit. I have selected die cuts in colors that have a more boyish feel in hues of blue, soft mango, and grape. There is a tiny bit of red-orange color around the journal card. Normally, I would hide a random color like this, but there's a sticker that I'm going to be adding at the top of the page, and it also has 2 orange flowers. When that is added, I'll have an odd number of flowers in that color, and it'll naturally balance out the layout. My goal, though, is to have the grape color be my most used color. When I create a project, I like to choose one color that is the most used hue, or as I like to call it, my gallon color. The gallon color, as most designers call it, is usually the more dominant color on a layout, and it sets the mood for the entire design. The grape hue I'm using has a bit of a feminine feel to reflect the little girl in the photo, but it's also one that works on masculine pages. The color that complements the gallon hue is called your pint. This is usually less intense, but still vibrant enough to add interest to your layout. The color I use the least of is called the court, which is usually a more neutral color that ties everything together. On this page, this subtle understated color is the soft mango, which is very similar to the color of the wood flowers that I'm adding. So I've just about finished off the spaces around the photo. Now I want to add some items in the upper right corner. This is where I'm going to bring in an adorable little grape-colored moon layered on some florals and a cloud. And now that this is in place, you can see why I kept that lone red flower near the photo. Having an odd number of items keeps the page in balance. At this point, I also need to balance out my wood florals. The one on the right has 2 sets of leaves. Instead of trying to add a really large leaf to the daisy on the right, I just cut one of the leaves in half and created some smaller leaves for my page. Now I'm going to finish adhering a few more items in place, and then I'm going to share the completed layout with you. Off camera, I added another phrase to my title that says all kinds of amazing, which defines the miracle of this little one's birth and her amazing father who cares for her so much. I also brought in a little more of the teal color with a heart near the moon and some epoxy circles near the photo. I'm going to share some close-ups of this layout so that you can see all the lovely details. Today's techniques included a few ways that you can use one of the HKC Cut Files on your layout. These florals pair beautifully with the June kit, and they are a perfect backdrop for just about any layout you create. The Floral Cut File and May Hip Kit can be found on the HKC Club website. A few of the items I used are not part of that main kit, but if you're a member of the HKC Club, you save $5 on the monthly kit and 15% on coordinating items, which can ship free with your main kit. So if you would like to get some of those gorgeous wooden florals in the embellishment kit, or would like to be able to use a few of the exclusive cut files, it's worth becoming a member. If you would like to learn more, I've added the details in the description below. I want to thank you for joining me for another scrapbook project. If you would like to see more of my creations, you can visit my channel or follow Miss Carrie's Creations online. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies listed below, feel free to leave me a comment. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.